Is there a puzzle? Did the pieces match up when it comes to inflammation? How about, are there a million and one solutions to pain? What does pain look like? What does it feel like? And are there some solutions that work? And how many times have we heard inflammation is the root of all disease? Yes. So if any of those hit home, and if you want some raw and real conversation, how many of you have been to a health professional and you wish you could maybe look inside their little noggin? Scary, I know. But and then okay, and ask the question: what are your what's your journey look like? What has been frustrating for you, and how have you personally gone through some of your valleys and then accomplished some of the peaks? And then of all the clients you've worked with, what one or two really stood out that you saw them make a few, two or three subtle changes and it made all the difference? What if we could kind of uncover that and gain from 20 years of experience? And so you're in the right place. Each one of us you're about to hear from today has been in the healing arts for more than 20 years. Every one of us have been through valleys and peaks of our journeys. Every one of us had it, crazy enough, all three of us here, also alongside our hands-on practice, crazy enough, all of us have had a toolbox because we only see our client once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever that looks like. And all the other time, they're left to their own defenses. So we've had a toolbox alongside our therapy, to trusted toolbox to offer them. So I want to welcome you. We're going to have a really fun conversation today from two individuals who I am honored and proud to call friends and also business partners. And I'm also proud to call my peers in the journey in massage therapy, healing arts, energy work, a lot of varied backgrounds for all three of us here. One hails from up in beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia, the Okanagan Valley up there. Love that country. One of my favorite. If any of you ski, check out Silver Star in British Columbia. It's my numero uno favorite destination on the planet. And then the other lady, her name's Jen Newman, comes from 20 plus years in the healing arts, yoga practitioner, cranial sacral. She just got her certification, which we'll hear more about. Took her 2 years to get that. And again, she's been in the wellness and healing profession for much longer than 2 decades. And then the other lady comes from beautiful, the big city of just south of Des Moines. And I always want to say Truro, Jamie, and that is the yes, that's right, St. Charles, close to Truro, which are both major metropolises in Iowa, right? If you believe that, I have some land in Australia. And Jamie, we met Jamie by spending time with our grandkids and receiving, massage therapy also from her healing hands. And then she also became she's a best friend of my honeybee Joy and a great friend of myself. And now we're on a similar journey, providing solutions for individuals, for people in all walks of life. So I want to welcome both of you to our chat today. So one of my initial questions, Jen and Jamie, to you both, we'll start with Jen here. First of all, Jen, welcome. And what initially led you into massage therapy, into the healing arts as a whole? What prompted you to step into that journey?
Thanks for having me, Robert. I love doing these with you and collaborating with other health professionals and Jamie. It's just so great to be linking arms with you all. And so for me, I mean, I've been since 2001, I've been a health practitioner. So it's been a journey. But the reason I originally started was because I was an Olympic level gymnast and basically grew up in a physiotherapy clinic with my own injuries. So I always knew that I wanted to be involved in some sort of sports injury rehab, and that led me to massage therapy. Since then, and over the last 1 to 2 years, I've transitioned into biodynamic cranial sacral therapy, which works more with the nervous system and working with held trauma or patterns of trauma, injury, chronic pain in the body. So now I'm working more subtly with the body. I'm not necessarily greasing my elbows anymore. But I'm loving shifting into more of the subtle energies, the fluids and tissues of the body to really work with the nervous system and letting go of patterns that lead to chronic pain and dysfunction. When we see inflammation in the body that is chronic, long after it happened, or even emotionally, when we're in that high stress, high anxiety, the body can hang on to held patterns of chronic pain and discomfort. So that's what I'm excited about with my new practice now, and some of the tools that we're implementing to help with that.
Wow. Letting go of the patterns that don't serve us. What was your exact verbiage? Letting go of.
The held patterns of trauma and injury in the body. Yeah. So those
No.
chronic, and obviously with high anxiety, high stress, we have high levels of cortisol in the body. Those are ways that we don't know why we're doing all the things that we think we're, even coming to see our RMTs and seeing massage therapy over and over and over again. I was seeing clients, they would have temporary relief and they would come and see me, and then they would return and return. And I always was told in our training that when I'm doing a good job, my clients would stop seeing me. That's when I'm doing a good job, because I'm able to help them. And so one of the reasons I'm transitioning into biodynamics and some of the tools that all of us are now recommending and implementing is to break those chronic pain cycles, to go that layer deeper than just the tissue. How can we work with the nervous system, but also with levels of cortisol, hormone imbalances, nervous system dysregulation, and that way we can be helping with our body's own inherent intelligence, and trusting and knowing and understanding that our bodies know how to heal themselves. Sometimes we just get stuck in patterns of dysfunction. And that's why I think all three of us are now implementing not only our body work, but the tools that we're recommending to help break those chronic pain cycles.
Break those chronic pain cycles. And you said patterns of dysfunction. Wow. Are we in, Jamie, for that? I think we're all in for that. So, admittedly, whether we're admitted or not, all of us have areas of dysfunction because we're all perfectly imperfect. So thank you, Jen. So I learn more about you all the time, and you're such a passionate, gifted healer. So thank you, Jen, for being part of this journey. And Jamie, it's funny, Honeybee and I, which is my wife Joy, we're getting to know a different side of you, which is the also the entrepreneurial side along with your healing art journey. But right now we're focusing on the healing art journey side. Obviously, in today's conversation, what led you initially into this journey as a massage therapist and different modalities that are in that?
Yeah, thanks, Robert. So unlike Jen, I got into it as a total fluke. My husband and I, at the time, we were building a fitness center and we had a taekwondo school, and we said, why not add massage therapy to our business, make it a three-pronged business? And I decided to go to massage school. I showed up sight unseen and I was led to be a massage therapist. Um, so that's how I got involved in it. Then once I started going to school and understanding fully what it meant, that's when my interest really started growing. And part of the reason my interest grew is because I needed to figure out how to take care of myself while I was doing massage therapy. Because so many massage therapists, I think the average is still 7 years in the business.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to do it for longer than 7 years. Again, it kind of comes back to goals, and I was committed. And so I started looking at what I needed to do for my own body to stick with this. And then over the course of time, I became connected with a local chiropractor also. And so when we married our two businesses with the chiropractic and the massage therapy, again, it was kind of like a snowball effect that I began to fully understand what it was that I had that I could offer people, how the holistic world can all work together to meet the goals of the people that we're working with. So I will have, 22 years come February. It'll be 22 years since I've been a massage therapist.
Wonderful. 22 years. And again, you were already in the fitness arena. You mentioned and that's when Joy and I first met you, as you had the gym there with your former husband. And then, so you were, I'm assuming, bear with me, Jamie. So you were active and into fitness pretty much all through your your childhood into early adulthood?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from a small town in Iowa, we didn't have much to do other than be active in sports. And so I was a four-sport athlete through my high school years. Actually went on to college, was on volleyball, softball team during college. Then just, yeah, so fitness has always been a part of me. When I came out of college, though, I was a corporate recruiter. So I have done the corporate side. And I loved it. I loved it. I got to travel and work on college campuses, so it was wonderful. But then once we decided to have a family, that's when I became a full-time mom. I gave up my corporate career and became a full-time mom. And that point of us building this new fitness center business and this endeavor that we had taken on, I definitely needed to get back into the fitness world, not only for myself, but offering a service for other people as well.
No, I love that. So all three of us, and again, the summation of how I ended up in massage. I went to massage therapy school up in Salt Lake City. I was competing. You both know, but for those watching who don't know this, I was competing crazy enough in Nordic skiing and archery, competing internationally. I just won a national championship with that as well. And at the time, I wanted to have a career path that involved helping people, impacting their health and wellness. And I could be anywhere on the planet to do this and make decent income while I was doing it, income with impact. And that's what led me into the healing arts. And it wasn't an eye-opening, Jen and Jamie, as you meet other peers and other professionals in this space, it just expands your awareness of what's possible. Yes?
Yes.
For the human body. And along with that comes frustration too. So today's talk is raw and real. Before we cover, one of my upcoming questions is going to say, be thinking about through your 22 years, Jamie. How many years, Jen? 20?
24.
Okay. And 25 plus. Actually, for me, it's crazy enough, 30 plus. But let's think back through our career as a massage therapist. What are a couple of the main frustration points you saw time and time again with some of your clients, and why was it frustrating, and then how they broke through? Before we go there, I'm going to ask both of you, and I'll share a quick insight too. Let's start with Jamie this time. So Jamie, think back in your adult life. What was one, and it may be recent, there was one thing that Joy and I had no idea you were dealing with a few weeks back. And so what's a recent pain point tied to your physical or holistic health in your own body that you were facing and you really were struggling with a bit and you had to overcome that?
Yeah, great question, Robert. This one kind of took me by surprise because, so I have three kids. When my second child was born, he's 24, I had sciatic issues during pregnancy and after with him. And I had learned over the years how to manage that. I kind of could feel when it was coming on. I knew that I was lacking in maybe my fluid intake, or I needed an adjustment, or I was eating too much sugar. I could typically track why my sciatic had flared up, and then I could adjust my habits and get through that. I had gone on a long road trip in May of this past year, bringing my daughter home from college, and I could not get it to relax. I was having trouble. It basically was flared up all summer, and I was very frustrated because I just couldn't get it to calm down. And so then when you and I spoke, that was my issue that I was really needing some attention on. And that's what we talked about during that time.
Yeah. And yeah, so you were dealing with that. And obviously you mentioned sugar intake. That's a big, in case you're watching this, we all, what brought us together on this particular journey the last few weeks has been a newer technology. We're going to give you the opportunity to find out about that. But the lifestyle tips and choices, Jamie, you mentioned sugar, which is a big thing when it comes to inflammation, reducing that. You mentioned hydration, you mentioned adjusting. You were doing all the above, but you were still dealing with that soft tissue and ligament issue in your body, and you got some solutions that we're going to mention here toward the end of our session today. So thanks for bringing that up. So Jen, I know we met you a number of years ago we spent more time with you on an island off the coast of Belize a little bit, and then we met you in some of our journeys in Canada. At one point, I know for a fact that you had some pain issues um, with your back and so forth. So what stands out though? What was one of your frustration cycles that you were dealing with?
Yeah, well, being an Olympic gymnast, you can imagine the stress I put my body under when I was young, and all of that is coming back in chronic pain. So yeah, I have a chronic low back SI dysfunction that loves to rear its ugly head, especially when I'm under a lot of stress. It's just sort of my, my tender point. And it's definitely chronic. But yeah, I mean, there were things that I could do that would kind of keep it at bay, but I always had to be very cautious, constantly going to yoga, making sure I'm balancing strength with flexibility. I'm also a cyclist still today. I love my long distance cycling. So any sort of repetitive action always flares up my lower back, but also those moments of high stress and anxiety, it seems to just flare it up. So yes, I've been able to manage it, but sometimes when it flares up, it would take weeks for it to resolve. And I would, yes, go see my chiropractor, get a massage, or get to a yin yoga class, those types of things. But the newer technology that we've all come together over has been helping with immediate, localized pain relief. And I'm seeing it also with a lot of my patients and my clients who come in with extreme acute local pain and loss of function, and we can now help break that pain cycle. One of the modalities I really love is acupuncture. And when I lived in Australia, the scope of practice of massage therapy allowed me to use acupuncture needles while I was treating, and it changed my practice.
Wow.
I really loved using acupuncture needles, especially for breaking pain cycle. And I was treating a lot of elite triathletes at that point. And I remember a lot of them would come to me just before a big race. They'd have maybe a week or two out, be like, I'm not planning to do the run because I know I'm going to be so flared up after the bike. I'm just going to walk. And I would do 1 to 2, maybe 3 treatments with acupuncture needles to help break their pain cycle. And they would come back from their race and say, you wouldn't believe it, Jen, I was able to do the whole run pain free. So this technology that we connected over is a form of needleless acupuncture. And so now I'm able to apply those same parameters for breaking pain cycles without using acupuncture needles. And for myself, I've been able to use them on myself, but also even the other day, for an example, after a yoga class, a student came up to me, explained that she was having a flare up of her back, and I was able to patch her right on the spot. And her pain, next day I checked in on her, she said already reduced from like an 8 out of 10 all the way down to a 3.
Wow.
So what's important here, and the point I think you want to get across, Robert, is pain can be chronic, but if we can really break that pain cycle in a quick, easy way by tapping into our body's intelligence, then we are so much further ahead in terms of practitioners and leveraging tools as entrepreneurs as well to really help our clients and our patients to relieve that pain function more quickly.
Yeah, and so what she's bringing up, if you're new to the conversation, you probably heard, maybe saw some of the posts from myself or Jen. Jamie's a little newer than even Jen and I in this journey, although you've probably seen some of her posts. It's this crazy enough, it uses the body's heat. We're talking about a technology that brought us together here, at least. Jen and I go back, 16, 17 years, Jamie, 20 plus years with Joy and I. And so, but recently, just for Jamie and myself, just like 9 or 10 weeks ago, we were introduced to this. And it's a technology, and it's a simple, you see the base of our necks here. All right, I just went for a hike this morning. So you see it's a technology that uses the body's heat, transmits light, and it enables the body to be the miracle God made it to be. And Jamie, let's briefly revisit. So I reached out. You said, it sounds crazy, Robert, but sure, I trust you guys. And what shifted in your sciatica, in your own body, once you were introduced to this type of technology that we're talking about?
Yeah, the biggest thing I noticed was not only the pain level, but my sleep. I have always been a really good sleeper. Like my head hits the pillow and I'm out. Well, the sciatic pain had been keeping me up. It was waking me up. It was keeping me up. And that was so frustrating to me because that was so unlike me. And so as soon as when I started the patches, then as I started noticing some change, what I noticed is my sleep first. And then I started questioning, whoa, why am I sleeping better? It's like, well, I'm sleeping better because my pain has diminished.
Yeah.
And then recognizing, well, my pain is diminished because the inflammation is diminishing also. And so as I started looking at the order of events, it all came back to the patch and how it had helped with one thing, which helped with another, which helped with another through that.
Yeah, it was a domino effect. And then I know you and I were having some conversations, and all three of us have had conversations with each other, is that we would call individuals. So if you're watching this, obviously early in this journey with Jen, a little while before we were introduced, and Jamie and myself and Joy, as we ourselves learned about this, did our research, we had trusted friends involved. Then naturally, as we begin to share with people, Jamie, one of those early conversations is that a lot of individuals maybe start this type of technology specifically for maybe inflammatory concerns, or in this case, some of the pain journey. And that may take a little time. And in some people, it's instant. Other people take time. And you were saying, Robert, an epiphany you had on one of our calls was that as I call these individuals that I'm sharing this technology with, I was Jamie, you were reminding them of blank, blank, and blank. What did that look like?
Yeah, as you said, sometimes we get so focused on a particular pain or a particular area that we kind of lose track of the bigger picture. And so as an example that I had early on, it was hip pain that my client was having. And so we were focused and we were hoping that this patch would help with that. And within a couple, I don't know what the time frame was, but I was touching base with her and she's like, "Oh, I'm not sure I'm really feeling much different. I thought I would feel something, I would have a greater relief by now," and so forth. But then as I started asking her the questions, I said, "You mentioned stairs." And she's like, Jamie, now that you mention it, I haven't had the same pain level as I do stairs as I used to. And you're right, my mile walk isn't as painful as it used to be. And again, so really, again, with human nature, we all get focused on one thing. And
Right.
when we start, again, open that up and ask the right questions in the field that we are in, and asking the right questions and getting people to think outside the box and maybe not putting answers in their heads. We're not doing that, but getting them to think through things maybe a little bit differently than what they had previously.
Great point. Great point. Because part of this whole process with this technology, it involves, our dormant stem cells. Jen, what are the stats on that? It's crazy when we were first introduced to the stats around ages and number of stem cells.
Yeah, so as we age, our stem cells go dormant. So that means the slower we heal and the faster we age. Even by age 30, I believe it's about 60% of your stem cells are starting to go dormant. So the older we get, the more we need to activate those stem cells. And remember, the stem cells don't go away. They're there, they're just sleeping. So when we can use technologies, like we're hearing a lot of technologies that can activate stem cells, whether it's red light therapy, whether it's injections, there's lots of ways to activate them. But there are also less invasive ways and more affordable ways of activating our stem cells. And that's what's keeping us young and fit, and especially for those of us who have been active in our younger years and are chronic with our injuries. Yeah, this is what we can do to also not only lower and manage inflammation, that chronic inflammation, as you mentioned, Robert, that, it's just that underlying root of all evil. When we can reduce that generalized inflammation and activate stem cells for cellular regeneration, we see those subtle changes that can happen in little increments. It might not be an immediate big, wow, I'm all better, but over time, as the stem cells start working by reducing the inflammation, then coming in and regenerating some cells, then we start to see those, and especially when we're in chronic pain, we may need a health practitioner or a friend or somebody to remind us that, remember, it was really difficult for you to go up and down those stairs. how is it now? Because we almost in our minds it's habitual. We just forget what hurt until it starts to feel better, and then you're remembering. I know the same has happened for me when I walk the dog every morning. I always have a lot of morning stiffness, and I would go and walk the dog to get that stiffness out of my SI joint in my lower back. And I've been recently noticing first thing in the morning, I'm walking the dog, like, wow, I can walk so much better. Everything is moving so much more easily. I should start running again. That's really one of the thoughts that's been going through my mind.
Yeah, and that's as we start closing this chat out today. And if you're watching, we'll do more of these chats and sessions. This is the first one with this particular group. And I'm so grateful to you, Jamie and Jen, both in so many ways for your leadership and passion, how you show up. Speaking of how we all show up, in closing, what has shifted though? Now that I know there's some clients, including ourselves, where we would be frustrated at times. And maybe we didn't have a way to, without a shadow of a doubt, this can help you in so many ways. So what has shifted in our practice because of, to go back to the subject at hand, I keep referring to my neck, but that's where my patch is and on my leg. So because we have this another incredible tool in our toolbox, because remember, this is only one tool of many. We've got to move the body, we've got to hydrate the body, take great nutrition, eat good food, right mindset, all the above. That all being said, in closing, what would you tell somebody who's maybe skeptical, they're frustrated, maybe they spent a ton of money on A, B, and C over the years? Let's start with Jen. Jen, what would you tell that individual, and how has this shifted your mindset in as you work with your clients? What's changed?
That's a great question. I feel like the technology that we're talking about is revolutionary. There is nothing else like it. It's a patent technology and what I love about it is there's no risks or side effects. So I always just say to my clients and patients, what have you got to lose? So just try it, other than no change. So that would be the first thing, is there is absolutely no risks or side effects. And especially when you're constantly seeing a healthcare practitioner and you're in that same cycle, competitive, and you're seeing, I had a talk with a client this morning, and she's seen all the different, she's like, I'm doing all the things, I'm seeing all the people, and nothing is shifting. That's when we need to try that one last thing. And I love this technology because it's affordable, it's accessible, and there's no side effects or risk. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, why not is right, because, and we've vetted it, we've worn it, we've shared it, we've done the research, and there's an incredible global community behind it. So why not? And before we go to Jamie with her closing thought, again, feel free to put, if you're intrigued about this and it's new to you, put wake up, one of our favorite little keywords, and we'll get back to you with the chat and or information. I just put wake up in the comments, whoever's sharing this with you. So Jamie, Jen, yeah, you're so awesome. Thank you for your passion and how you show up. So Jamie, same question. What's shifted and what's the closing thought?
Everything Jen said as a closing thought, I agree with all of that. For me, the two things that people like are all natural. That's the big thing. All natural and easy. Okay? We make things so complicated, and layers and complication. And so all natural and easy. And the other thing with me being in small town, in my circle, as it grows and people start sharing outside of my circle, is trust me. They trust me, and there's nothing better than that. No greater compliment than when somebody says, I trust you, and I've tried everything else, and I want to try this because I trust what you are presenting to me. And the other thing is too, for me, I see most people probably monthly. And so I can be assured that in the time that they're not seeing me, that their body is still in a healing state.
Wow. Yeah, so many. We could do a whole talk on what you just summarized to you and Jen both. So, and is that circle of trust. And we're here. The VIP on this line is not any one of us. It's you. You are showing up. You're still here at this point of our conversation. My goodness, you are showing up. And thankfully you are, for you and your loved ones. So put wake up in the comments if this is new to you. If it's not, thanks for showing up and educating yourself more. Jamie and Jen, thank you for being here. we're here to serve and we're here to make an impact. So God bless, and we will catch you on the next chat. Cheerio, Jen. Thanks, Jamie.
Robert.